like a thing I have said before, but I just want to I want us to unpack a little bit, is the fact that Premier League was not shit until foreigners came. And foreigners specifically from Africa and South America, right? And Premier League was the last of the big leagues to allow foreigners to come in. Like Premier League in the 90s was long balls and no vibes, right? There was nothing. There was no Jogo Bonito. There was nothing, right? It was ugly as hell, right? Until we came to make it beautiful, right? And that's the thing Galliano says. He says the Brits invented football, but we perfected it. We being like the South. And so that's a really interesting thing that you're coming up at the same time where we're seeing a lot more of this representation. We're like, look, y'all, like, to the Brits, right, who think they have the best league in the world, and that's arguable. Like, you weren't shit until you had to have us come save y'all asses. Because if you didn't start to let foreigners in, you would never compete with La Liga, with Italy, with these leagues that already have been having foreigners coming forever. And that's another little pocket of resistance, I think.
Mm-hmm. I think and the other thing I would add to that too is here in the UK, it wasn't just foreigners either. It was like migrants, the Black Caribbean and Black African community, who a lot of the big players, even before the Premier League, like John Barnes, for example, he was Jamaican actually, and he migrated to the UK, and he was like one of, if not the best footballer for a long time. I think in the 80s and part of the 90s too. And during the time where the racism in football in this country was crazy, but they had to accept Barnes because he was great. He was amazing. And the same thing, as you're saying, actually during the 90s, you see more and more people coming from abroad, but players coming from abroad, but also homegrown players that were from other backgrounds. These little kids are being raised playing football in terrible conditions, like terrible pitches, concrete pitches, just kind of terrible conditions. So you have to be creative, you have to be tough, you have to be all of these things, and that's what kind of makes some of the footballers in that area of London, and it's what makes them really good in terms of then going on to develop in the Premier League. So yeah, of course the football in this country, and I think across the world, depends on people of the global South. Colonized
100%. 100% from the global South, colonized within the hubs, right, of imperialism that are the UK and the US and Europe in general. And I think that's beautiful. That is